Welcome back, guys. This is we're well underway of season 3 of the Nice Guys of Comedy podcast. I have to get that in because I'm currently editing the last episode, and I realised that when I introduced it, I never said the word podcast. How else would you know what we're doing right now?
Get a brew and sit your ass down for the Nice Guys of Comedy podcast. Nice Guys. Nice Guys of Comedy. The Nice Guys. The Nice Guys of Comedy. And here are your hosts, real-life Northerners, Jack Vincent and Nick Crooks.
They're from up north, gravy and chips. So listen to the words coming out their lips. I said they're from up north, gravy and chips. So listen to these words coming out their lips.
Let's take this bullet. But yes, you are listening back to the Nice Guys Comedy podcast with your usual hosts, Mr. Nick Crooks and Jack Vincent. Whoop, whoop. Nick doesn't even... This is also an auditor podcast.
I forget this every time because we record that actually people listen to it on like all the podcast apps.
Spotify places.
And you can't actually see me. I'm a good-looking chap if you are listening to this. And
he's an absolute stunner if you're listening. Just
see.
Picture Benedict Damon.
Benedict.
Put those two together.
Well, that's
the Doctor Strange
that's
identity.
On my next comedy poster.
It's not funny, mate. It's true.
It's true. We're not bringing you comedy today. We're bringing you cold hard facts. But yes, that is the nice voice there of our guest this week, Mr. Alex Camp. Woo!
Morning. What is going on?
As a bit of a added bit, Mr. Camp here is also the nice featurette of our jingle. So, Alex, how are you? How is lockdown treating you? How has the last year been treating that comic mind of yours?
Oh man, it's beating it down into submission. I think it's really hard to be funny when there's nothing happening. Do you know what I mean? I feel like writing is all about going out there and doing stuff and being active in the world. And what are you supposed to write? Just like staring at the same four walls all the time. You know, like. It's a real tough one. I've done some Zoom gigs. Did a good Zoom gig the other day that you booked for me, which was wonderful, actually, really good. And sometimes you just see like people are really reaching for material. You know, I wish I had an example here, but some of these open mics I've been to, people are reaching because it's like, what are you doing? You know, what have you got going on? I just cooked a sausage, and the paper didn't come today. What a shame. All right, comedy genius. You know.
It is. I think as well, what I've noticed is compared to like maybe the first lockdown when it was proper lockdown, I think there was some comedic elements in there. We were all in the same boat. We were all doing the same stuff. And as well, it was something from our generation that we'd never done before. So the idea of socially having to be in a physical lockdown, it was quite funny, and you were finding funny things out of it. There was the whole working from home aspect. Now that it's tried and tested, and also now that we're in a lockdown that is essentially bullshit crap. Like, I don't like. Are we in a lockdown? Are we not? We illegally are in a lockdown, but no one seems to be taking care of it. It seems to be like there's no real humor in it. Like, it's just literally, I'm bored. Like, you'll speak to old friends, and you're like, oh, so how you been? What you been up to? Nothing. I have done nothing.
I catch up with some people once a week, and I really don't know what to tell you here. I mean, I didn't even know a week had passed.
It's a stupid question to ask, innit? But you ask it anyway. You know that. So what you been up to? Same thing as you. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll eradicate that from our lexicon. You know, the whole idea of saying how are you doing, what have you been up to? That'll just be gone for the next generation because they don't want to dare ask in case the person actually answers, I committed suicide a couple of times, had a go, and
stab at it.
Started a TikTok, finished a TikTok. You know, what else do you want me to do? What do you want me to tell you?
It is true. Like, no one's really able to do anything, but hopefully we're going to be looking to get back onto live gigs sometime soon. But actually on that then, I just knocked my desk over and I have no idea I had something move then, and I'll deal with that later. But something, because you've taken the initiative, and you have done some online. You mentioned you've done some online gigs. We booked one. Jacko Clubs booked one. Now I was supposed to perform, but for those who don't know, I last week was dead to the world. I spent literally 5 days shivering, sweating. Weirdly enough, I've had some of the weirdest fever dreams in my whole life, to the point where I couldn't differentiate. Could differentiate. This is the thing, right? I say this, and it makes out that I've got a really interesting story to tell. I don't. They were the most boring fever dreams, but I couldn't differentiate what was real life. And I also remember in one of the fever dreams, I spent 20 minutes in my dream explaining, or what felt like 20 minutes, explaining to this person, the stranger, directions to this city. And I was adamant of these directions to this city, bearing in mind, one, my geography's shit, but two, I was using, it was a real, like I was like, right, so you're going to go down, when you hit Manchester, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, all this. 20 minutes, right? I then woke up and was so upset with myself because I'd given him wrong directions. It then took me a further 5 minutes to realise I was trying to direct him to Pallet Town from the Pokemon games.
Oh, a Pallet Town.
Pallet Town?
Yeah.
I knew that was round here. I had a feeling it was round here.
So I was fucking headshot anyway. So obviously I was out of action last week.
It's a good job you haven't had the COVID jab, because you'd be a conspiracy theories wet dream.
Yes.
Like, you'd be like, look at this guy, look at what's happened to this guy. He's fucked up beyond compare from having the jab.
I reckon you take a look round on the internet after this comes out a few days later, it'll be like Pallet Towns on the M62. I told you the whole time.
That's that house in the middle of the M62. That's Pallet Town. Honestly, though, it messed with my head. But no, you did an online gig, which, well enough, I had a phone conversation with the guy who runs the business of the thing last night. And spoiler alert, you're one of his personal favourites. So well done to
It wasn't Rick, was it?
No, but I'm going to say this now. Fuck this. I've got a funny story about Rick. So as I said,
Rick.
Well, kind of. I've met him a couple of times. He's building me a website. But the funny story is, right, so so here you go. This is for Nick as well, because Nick's got none of this, right? So
Shall I
book this
explain
gig.
who Rick is before we get in on Rick? Or why Rick's
to
significant to me?
be fair, it's massively irrelevant to the story. The only thing you need to know about Rick for the relevance of my story is that he has a beard. Okay? That's
true.
all you need. That's all you need to know about Rick, right? So I was massively underwet. I was not well at all, and I passed the reins to my business partner Vicky and said, "Just look after this. I can't deal with it." About 5 minutes before what would have been showtime, I was in bed half asleep. I get a message from Vicky saying, "What does Alex look like?" And I was like, "He's in the group chat, so he's going to be there. You know what he looks like." She went, "Yeah, but what does he look like?" And I was like, I don't.
It's hard to describe me, to be honest. I'm just a white guy, really. Ginger.
Well, yeah, I was
Oh my God.
Ginger. He looks like a ginger guy.
She sent me a picture of the Zoom chat, which is of this Rick guy, and went, "Is this him?" And I went, "No." That's also in the Zoom. It has below your name, below your picture, your name. And I went,
So I was there,
said,
and she was just like, "Who? Where's Alex?"
I was like, it literally even says Rick. And I went, this isn't. So I had to screenshot your Facebook profile. I went, this is Alex. She went, oh, wait, I figured it out now. And I was like,
Figured out English.
what was the confusing bit? I went, I understand that these are two white guys with beards, but how, like, what?
I get that, though. I've had that a few times, like, especially when I've got long hair. Like, people be like, "Oh my God, I saw your twin!" It's like, "Oh really?" And I'm excited because I always want to see people who look like me. I love that, and without doubt, it's always just a ginger guy with a bit of big hair, and he's a little bit tall, and it's like, "Oh, there he is, he's your twin." It's like, if he was my twin, that would be rubbish. If I was a new mum and I said, "Here, look at these twins," and they were like that would be the most disappointing twins ever. I liked Rick. Rick was very reluctant to have a song done about him. Like I in my act now, I do music and I make up songs about people, just kind of make the beats and that on the keyboard. And he was dreading it. He was completely dreading it. And in the end, the song I made was actually quite rubbish. Like, it was all out of time and that, but I just basically said something about his name is Rick, and like I managed to rhyme it with everything except Dick, because I'm trying to like keep it clean. Do you know what I mean? And he was so happy by the end of it. He was so happy. I think of all the Ricks, I would pick this Rick, and like he was delighted to have a song about him. Rick, it seemed like no one had ever kind of spoken to him before, or really taken an interest in him.
This one's for you,
poor Rick.
Big up,
I
Rick.
feel like he went into work the next day and went, "Guess what happened to me? Yeah,
Well,
have you got your own theme tune? Have you bollocks? I have."
Well, this was his work due, so he didn't have to go and guess what happened. They all fucking knew.
Imagine if you went in and went, guess what happened? They were like, yeah, guy made up a song about you at the comedy show. We were there. Shut up. Go home.
We know exactly what happened.
Yeah, but it were well good though, wasn't it? Yeah, he did one about the rest of us as well. You were there, Rick. You were there.
Oh, big it up for Nick. I want to say for Nick then. No, this is about Rick. It's not about.
We'll big up for Nick as well. Big up for
You
Nick.
can big it up for me.
I
love it, baby.
Don't big it up for him. He's got a big enough ego. But no, if we are big up, like I said, in lockdown, you've been doing some of the online gigs. I've seen you your name pop up quite a lot. But you've done a comedy special. Then you've released it yourself. So tell us about this then. So what happened? Where is it? Tell us everything.
The story behind the special, this is kind of a behind the scenes featurette. Let's launch into it. So I was living in Japan. I used to live in Japan for 4 years.
Oh, nice.
That's where I started doing stand up. Well, I kind of did one in the UK, which was a real disaster. And I thought I'll pick it up in Japan, and fewer people speak English, so it's a bit easier. So I did it there for a while, and I kind of got to a point I was like, I'm thinking about leaving, and I've got all this material, and a lot of it's kind of about Japan or about kind of being an expat and that kind of thing. So I put on a gig and filled the room up and did a 48 minutes, get a nice juicy 48, the perfect amount of time.
Wow,
not too long,
nice.
Not too short, 48 minutes on the dot. And it sat in development hell for a long time. Because when you do stuff on the cheap and it's like, can you hurry up with that, please, mate? I paid you like 100 quid. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. It's on the pile, and people just keep outbidding you, and something gets slips on the top of the pile. No, bless him. Tom, who did it, was great, and he did a really great job. He works for a TV company in Japan, and for some reason they just didn't do anything on a Saturday, so we just borrowed all this incredible gear, like 4K cameras and that. And he was like, "Yeah, we're just gonna." I was expecting like a camera, a tripod, and like a light. That's what I was expecting. And we got to this office in Tokyo, and I'm like, "What the fuck's going on here?" And I'm carrying boxes like this big, them big plastic cases with wheels, like feeling like a grip or something. I don't know what they call them on a set, but. So we set up this gig and did it, and it was in development hell for a while, and I finally got it sorted out, and I decided to put it all out there. I've been releasing clips here and there, but now I've got it on YouTube. So that's my big release. That's my huge release. Is on YouTube, which anyone can do. But I put it on there. So it's on Spotify and that as well as an audio, and I'm just drip drabbing it out on TikTok as well, which has been fun.
Nice.
Can't beat a bit of TikTok. Can't beat a bit of TikTok. I mean, I'm currently dominating TikTok. I have 110 followers, so I'm just putting this out there. It's massively. I also, side note, we will come back because yours is massively more appreciative. I actually got a hate comment today, and then I managed to get the hate comment to like my video, and then I was so proud of it. I wanted to show people. Then the hate comment got deleted, and I was like, oh.
They, he, she, they probably was like, actually, this guy's really nice. I can't hate on them. I'm just gonna have to go back and delete it.
Yeah,
I'm hoping so.
I've just had a shit day. That's what he's thinking. I've had a shit day. I've said it out of haste. I was wrong. I'm gonna like the video and delete the comment.
We've all done it.
Although I think he also deleted his account, so he deleted my like, which I was fucking annoyed at. But
he deleted his whole account. Jesus Christ!
That's how much he didn't want to like the video. He went, "There's a hate comment. Oh no, I've liked it by accident. I'm gonna have to delete my full account now."
He's gone into the mountains now. He's like standing on a mountaintop in Tibet. Like, why is this guy doing comedy? What is TikTok? He's having a fever dream. He's trying to get to Pallet Town. This guy.
You know what? Don't ask me for directions because you will get fucked up. But no, that's pretty cool though. So you said your comedy, like, origin started in Japan then. So how long were you actually doing comedy in Japan for?
The full 4 years, pretty much. I got there in November, and by February, I was doing my first kind of open mics there.
How big's the comedy scene in Japan? I mean, obviously, you didn't go all over Japan to every section, but I'm just like, you just don't think about it, do you? Because you would, obviously, you think, oh, it's all right here, but what's it like in other countries?
Yeah, I mean, like, Japan was like, obviously, I had no clue about the comedy scene in the UK. I was a musician when I was in my teens and 20s. I played guitar in bands, so that was my whole life. And I just, after 15 years of doing that, when I got to Japan, I was like kind of fed up of that whole thing. So I thought I'd try to change. I had to be on stage. You know what I mean? That's a no deal. I need that attention fix at all times. You know, so I was like, okay, you know, I've always fancied comedy, and I've been teaching and that, and you know, I thought I was funny.
We all do.
Yeah, and I got kind of plugged in there, and yeah, it's really small. Like, that's the first thing. It's a very, very small community. You know, it's not many people. Mostly in Tokyo. There's a few comics and a comedy club in Osaka, which is almost like the Manchester of Japan, really, because it's upside down from the UK in terms of the north is where all the posh wankers are, and down south is a little bit more real and a bit more sound, and everyone's a bit nicer, and you know, they've got a slightly different dialect and that. But in Osaka's a really nice, cool city, like much smaller than Tokyo, much more chilled out. And they've got a bit of a scene there, and they've got some in a couple of other places. They've got a couple of people, but really it's just a few people in Tokyo. And you know, there's a few people who have been there forever. And there's like a circulating kind of revolving cast of people, because you know, if you come and you're decent at comedy, the first thing you want to do is get out of Tokyo, because although the scene is great there, it's very it's unlike what you would get in London or Manchester or Melbourne or LA or New York or wherever people come from. But there's scenes all around Asia as well, which is really great.
And this might be me being very, very slack then. Is it a case that this small community, is it, I'm assuming you're performing comedy in English, not Japanese?
Yeah, I was. I mean, there's some people, there's a small group of people who were doing it, foreigners doing it in Japanese, but that was a very niche thing as well. That was not mainstream in any way. There is kind of foreigners who are on TV and Japanese people who are on TV doing Japanese comedy, and that's all like slapstick kind of stuff mostly. Yeah, it's a bit more of a kind of old slapsticky.
Yeah, I can imagine. So if you're doing it in English, then I'm assuming that the audience is very well versed in English, because obviously
Yeah. So you end up with like a really mixed bag of people. You know, you've got some Japanese people who speak decent English, although it's rare that Japanese people who live in Japan have a really high enough level of English and also cultural knowledge to get stand-up. Because you realize suddenly, you're like, stand-up comedy is so complicated if you don't speak the language. The amount of wordplay and mad like references and all that kind of stuff is out of this world. And even seeing British comedy, like professional comics coming over, we had Steve Bajaya and Lou Sanders and Yuriko Katani and a bunch of people come over, and they've got to kind of change a lot of the references because you've got a lot of very specific references in there. But yeah, the audience is, you know, there's a lot of Americans, Australians, and also like Europeans and various different nationalities who all kind of speak English. So, but it's an international vibe. And the thing you've all got in common, is you're foreigners in Japan. Yeah. For the most part, people live in there, some tourists. But so that's the kind of vibe you catch on to, is that
is that the experience you talked about in the actual stand-up then, like living in Japan and being like putting that on the audience and hoping that they sort of get, you know, it's like the same sort of experiences, because we all laugh at, obviously, when we tell a joke and it resonates with someone, you're like, yeah, I do that. So is that what
that's it, and you
comics aim for there?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. A lot of people have got stuff like that. Was kind of the reason I recorded it, because I knew I wouldn't be able to use it when I got back. And there's some stuff which I thought would translate, and even though people in England can get the jokes, it doesn't hit home for them because it's not.
Yeah.
It's not as much of a connection. So a lot of that stuff I pretty much had to drop. But going on TikTok, I realized, because you're putting each bit on in a small chunk, and I'm going to squeeze this in here because this has been the biggest thing that's happened to me this week, is that one of my videos has blew up on TikTok. Just one, but it's a stand-up bit cut out of the special, and it's a bit about British people. And it's one of the few things I've got in there that's about being British.
Yeah.
Which, and it like a load of British people connected to that. But I realized most of the rest of the special, a lot of the rest of it is more geared towards people who are in Japan. And when you've got them in a room, that's a lot of them.
There you go.
A proportion of them when you've got them in the room there. They're not worldwide.
You're not letting them
necessarily.
leave. You're not letting them leave.
Absolutely. Just stick around,
Just
guys.
out of interest, just to kind of flex a little bit here, this video that blew up on TikTok on this one video, how many views did that get?
Okay, we'll take a look.
This is
has
going to
slowed
hurt
down
your...
pretty much
Jack,
now.
you've asked this. This is going to hurt your...
It's going to really hurt.
Yeah.
This is
I've
going
got one
to
video that
hurt.
blew.
But I can soften it quite quickly. So this one that I posted Saturday morning has had 213.8 thousand views,
Heck.
61.2 thousand likes, 425 comments, and about 1,000 shares.
Okay, right. Okay, then yeah, it's blown up. Mine has 130,000 views.
That's great.
It's good. It's good. It's weird what things
I
can
haven't
blow
been
up.
stitched. I have not been stitched.
Oh,
That I will say. So every stitch you've got is a dagger in my heart there.
But no, yeah. So just going back to the one thing I want to ask, because I'm going to ask this because I'm basically an expert on Japan because I watched Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious the other day. So I'm basically an expert. What was the living situation like? Did you live in Tokyo?
I did. I lived in Tokyo the whole time. Yeah.
And when you're watching films and like it is very like a very cramped city and you basically live in a cupboard, is that how you lived?
Not really. Everything is smaller though. Like, you know what's mostly smaller is like shops and bars and restaurants and that. There's no like big open bars and stuff. There's a few big nightclubs in Shibuya in Tokyo, but that's not small. But it's all right because there's not so much wasted space. There's not as many corridors.
Yeah, you've not like got a big dirty Weatherspoons right in the middle of
corridors. Or a lot of places. When I moved there, I suddenly was like, there's a lot of places like in England you just don't go in a room. There's like a room that you just don't go in. It's like the nice room for Christmas. Like, why is that there? Who's got that? Like, that's not even a rich people thing. That's like.
Yeah, to be fair, my grandparents had a room like that. I think they called it the best room.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be like, go around, and you go, and they'd be like, don't go in the best room. Why? Never been in there. Just look through the glass door.
Yeah,
I like how you've come back from Japan. You've come back from Japan, and like the one thing you've appreciated is we've got a lot of rooms we don't need. Like, what's
Yeah.
I mean, saying that, I've got a lot of built-in cupboards in my flat that I don't think I need. So maybe it's the same mentality.
It must be a British thing, because definitely, especially if you're looking for somewhere, you go, oh, well, this one's a lot bigger. But it's like, well, what are you going to do with the space you've got? Yeah. All you do is fill it with crap, really. Yeah. If you looked at it and you go, what is this? Oh, I haven't used it in like 5 years. But you've put it in this room because you've got the room.
Now, you're literally currently describing my office.
I used to be a removals man. One of my favorite jobs was being a removals man because it was easy. You could eat as much as you like, and you never like gain weight because you're always up and down stairs carrying stuff. And people don't know what they've got. You take stuff out, and they're like, "Whoa, you filled up 3 vans there." It's like, yeah, you've got some crap. You've got like Nintendos galore that I really should be taking from you, and like, just give me these things. Like, why have you got a TV stand that's like made of green glass? Like, what are you doing with this stuff? People just don't know what they've got. They just fill up an attic with crap, you know. That's what
all sorts of shit that people. What's that thing of one person's trash is another person's treasure? No, it's all trash, but we all want to keep it.
I bet if you asked the person, like, you saw them Nintendos and it was like, oh, I didn't even know I had that, and you go, well, I'll take them off you.
Yeah.
You know, I'll give you 20 quid. No, actually, I want to hang on to them. Why? You didn't even know they were there.
Yeah, they're
I'm offering you like 50 quid for them. I'll give you 50 quid from now. You're like, no, but I know they're there now, so now I want them.
People who don't need 50 quid, I don't trust them. If you don't need 50 quid, I don't trust you. And it doesn't mean I don't trust rich people, because if you've got money, you still need 50 quid. Everyone needs 50 quid.
Yeah.
A quick 50 for like some stuff. You know what I mean? If you offer me 50 quid for something, I'm probably gonna give it to you. I mean, you know.
Well,
there you go. You've heard it here first.
My reputation precedes me.
I'd do the same. I'm an unemployed
No, you're right
student.
though. You are right with that. Like, if you are offered, so if someone doesn't want something or don't know they have it, and you offer them the money, it's always weird when they'll turn it down, because you're like, well, it's clearly worth more than that. So why don't you want this money?
Yeah,
you are weird.
Exactly.
I also think make someone else happy. You didn't even know we're there. Someone else could be happy using that, and you're just going to eventually let it deteriorate into something. That's why I hate watching American Pickers more and more these days.
I don't know if I've watched American Pickers. Which one is American Pickers?
It's got like a short, fatter dude and like a taller guy. Can't remember the names. I've just had it on in the background. I can't remember the names. But they'll go, oh, look at this. Oh, and they'll pull it out from loads of crap. It's got crap over it, dust on it, dirt on it. And they'll go, oh, look, a little fire truck. I'll give you $300 for it. And it's worth like $500 to them. And they'll go, I kind of wanted to keep that. Why? Well, why did you want to keep it? It was under all that shit that you would, you know. And they're like, well, I'm thinking about cleaning up myself. You're 92-year-old. Just take just take the 500 quid. And and use it. You know, get some. Go on holiday. Do something else. You know, buy one of them big lazy boy chairs to end your days in. I don't know, just something with the money that you could just do something with it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you got like no time left. And like, you know, just start rinsing it. Although that's a weird game though, isn't it? Because you're kind of gambling with it when you're old. Because like, if you got to that age, like my granddad's like 90. Every time I call him, he's like, hey, I've hold on for another day. And I'm like, all right, great, granddad, that's good. But he's still good, you know. He's still good. His mind's there and everything, you know. But he can't really move around as well. But his mind's solid. But it's like, he's probably thinking to himself, God, I've got to 90. How do I eke out the rest of what I've got? Because how long you don't know how long you're going to be around, do you? You got to 90, you figured 100 might happen. 10 years is nothing to an old person. It's just boom.
Yeah. And it's weird because I always think this because I have let's get deep for a moment. One of my weird things with anxiety is I just feel like I'm aging far too quickly. But then you do think about shit like that. I'm like, right, I'm nearly 30, and I'm there thinking, in 10 years' time, like, I'm going to be 40. Like, that seems really old. But in 10 years' time, this guy is 100, and he's just chilling doing fuck all. But, like, you could do so much in 10 years, and it just baffles me. Exactly like what you just said. Also, how is your how old are you? If your granddad's
35.
90? Fuck off!
35, man. Yeah, I'm on my way. I'm mid-30s. Mid 30s.
I genuinely thought you were younger than me, and now, like, my appearance, I'm very like, let's just shut this fuck off. Fucking hell! And here's me complaining that I'm not even 30 yet.
You can't see this, but Alex looks like
froze.
he's been dipped in the fountain of youth.
Yeah,
he looks like he's just had his head just mashed into it and pulled out, and then gone, "Yep, he'll do. That's long enough."
I would never just dip my head in the fountain of youth with this haircut I've got at the moment. I'd submerge my entire head and then I'm coming out slow motion shaking it
like a Daniel Craig James Bond.
I'd do the whip like that's how I'm getting at that fountain.
Why do you think he's getting 50 quid for certain tasks? Let's be fair, he's dipping everything in that fountain of youth.
That's it, exactly. And 50 quid was a lot of money when I was a lad.
when I was a lad.
We spoke about this last time on the podcast, me and Jack, that if you got like the video that hasn't aired yet, but it will have done by this. But like when you got 50 quid for like your birthday, he was like the richest person ever. You would literally be thinking, "Oh my god, like I am a millionaire. Absolutely. I can buy whatever I want. Like going into like Blockbuster, that's a throwback. Thinking I can get anything in here."
Yeah.
But these were also the same days that when you used to go to the cinema and you used to ask your mum for some money, she'd give you like 10, 15 quid, and that was sufficient.
Your mum gave you 10 or 15 quid at the cinema.
Probably just a tenner.
I was just thinking, oh my god, Jack is posh. He got 10 to 15 quid.
No, but that's what I mean. Like when you used to ask for like money to go out to see your friends, you used to get given like a tenner, maybe not even that, like a fiver, and it used to be sufficient. And like now, if you think if you get given, there's a fiver. If I go to Tesco's for a meal deal, that's my money gone.
Yeah, no, my dad used to give me 50p to the shop. That's how cheap that is.
Yeah,
I used to manage on when I was 20, 5 quid at the club. Tuesday nights at Audio in Brighton, 2 quid on the door, right? And if my mate was DJing, I might get in for free. So if I had a fiver, that's £1 bottle of Foster's, 4 shots of tequila, which were 50p on that particular night. 5 quid. You're having a laugh. Jesus and sometimes Christ. If I had another fiver, it would be 4 pills.
Just to top it, just to round the night off. If I had another
pills were cheaper than drinks at that point. There was a time for a bit where ecstasy pills in the south of England were cheaper than drinks, and it kind of went the other way after a while. But
that's because the guy,
but you know what,
ecstasy pills are so fucked up. He didn't realize how cheap he was selling. He was going, if I sell these, I can get 4 shots of tequila in the club.
But you know what? Do you know what you guys had that if it's south of England, you guys have pebble beaches. So do you have pebble beaches? Am I thinking of the right place? Yeah,
right, fuck them. A pebble beach. It's true, yeah.
Fuck it. Right. Whoever likes a pebble beach is a sadist.
Yeah. Yeah, pebble beaches are rubbish, to be honest. It's a non-committal beach.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to the beach. Oh, no, I'm not. Actually, I'm going to go home. And you don't get sandy.
I remember when I was younger, I used to live near London, and I remember once, like, as a day out with my mum and some friends, we went. My mum and like some of the other kids were like, "Oh, we're gonna go to the beach for the day." And I remember, I think it was Bognor Regis that we got to, and they have a pebble beach. We got there, and I remember being so excited for weeks to go to the seaside. Got there, and I remember going to mum and went, "Where's the beach? Because this isn't beach. Give me my beach." And I was so pissed off because it was a fucking pebble beach and not sand. So
did you go take it? Did you just get in the car and go back home to leave?
No,
I were living in London at the time.
I did the true thing. Bear in mind that I can't get in the car by myself because I was 8 at the time. I did the true thing that any kid did at that time, and I sat on that beach and just padded the whole time. I was like, this is despicable. Absolutely no, I'm not a fan of this.
You can't build no pebble castle, can you? You've never heard that.
That is true.
Yeah. So you might have had cheap drugs, but you had a shit beach.
That was it. It's a drugs beach. Because when you're doing that whole thing, like it's because if you look at the positives of a pebble beach are all there for people in their teens to 20s. You can do a barbecue on it. You can hide fag butts under the rocks. You can have sex on it without getting anything up your whatever your things. You could do all kinds of awful things on the beach that you shouldn't be doing. So it's like when you're a kid, it's horrible, and then as soon as you're older than about 25, you're like, "Give me the sand back. I want to go back to the sandy joy."
To the sandy joy.
I'm just very interested in what sort of life you lead that you got sand in your hello. But no, that's the thing though. Like money used to be such a nicer like commodity because you used to be able to do a lot more with it, which explains why you can't trust someone who doesn't want 50 quid because 50 quid's fucking sick.
That's when 50 quid doesn't even buy you Call of Duty now. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't even buy you a video game. That's the worst thing.
I just dropped 50 quid on PlayStation Plus last night for a year.
Yeah, and the owner of Rockstar actually said that the public are ready to spend £70 on a video game.
The annoying thing is,
you're going to ratchet it up to the next level.
Yeah.
The annoying thing is that he is correct. I'm assuming it's a he. He is correct because of today, games are now fundamentally advertised through gaming YouTube and stuff like that. You can put a price of whatever and kids will be like, I want it. I fucking
Well, it's
want
the fact
it.
that you can only get one game on your PlayStation.
Well,
like,
that as well.
I can only get one game pretty much for the size without buying extra storage, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I remember putting a disc in a game and it was it.
Yeah.
But games have always been 50 or 60 quid, haven't they, though, since back in the day? Like for like a console game.
I don't know. I remember them being cheaper, but then also I was of the culture of like second-hand games, so I don't really remember necessarily how much a brand new console game was, if I'm perfectly honest, because I don't remember some of that. I always remember them being quite expensive. Now that you said it, actually.
Yeah, I never got console games. I'll tell you why. Because we weren't allowed to have a console because my parents didn't support having more than one telly, and they would not let us use the telly because they all wanted to watch the telly. So the only console I had was a Game Gear.
Game Gear?
Game Gear, Sega Game Gear, which is basically a Master System in a handheld. Sega Game Gear, full color screen. It was sick, to be honest. I enjoyed it. Sonic 2, Donald Duck, some shit like that. I don't know.
There'll be people listening going, "Colours? He's excited about a colour screen." Yes, that was an advancement in. We had black and white.
They literally named a console the Game Boy Color.
Yeah, right, and that was like 10 years later. After the first one. We had that, and then we had a pirated Xbox. We had the Xbox with like the chip in it, so you could have a hard disk full of games and that. So it was like jailbroken, and so never paid for a game. I'm gonna get the old computer police gonna come knocking on the door now, just like get out.
I think we all. I had a PS1 chipped.
Yeah, I never had one chipped. And I think the main reason being is, so my sister, I think it were her dad had a chipped PlayStation, and she told me this story once that he had this chipped PlayStation. Now, this may or may not have been related, but the chipped PlayStation exploded and set the car on fire. So after that point, in my head, I just associated with like chipped PlayStation means that it's going to explode, so I never did it.
I just had a load of games in mine. I think my mum was trying to tell me something because at Easter she was like, "I'm not going to get you any eggs. I'm going to get you I'm going to get you a PlayStation to share." And I was thinking, right, am I putting on some weight or something? I'd still like both. As a kid, you want chocolate and games. And then it came, and it came with like a folder that CDs come in. And there was like a shitload.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And she was like, "Oh, they're all the games." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Oh, yeah, someone down the pub chipped it." And it came with all these games, and the games just had like
it's always someone at the pub who chips it.
Yeah, a blank white CD with like Simpsons Wrestling wrote on it, and then all of them were blank white ones like Spyro 2 and everything else. Like such a knockoff treat, such a knockoff present. That
British lifestyle.
And it's like people come round and you're like,
it's Spyro 2. I do a show, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you got a PlayStation? Yeah. Where's your games? In this massive folder here. Oh, wow, you've got loads of games.
If you look carefully, it says Stayplation. It's a Stayplation. I got it at the market. It's just as good as a PlayStation.
That's how it was. But I also, on about Easter though, I don't think my mum's bought me an Easter present no, that's a lie, an Easter egg in years. I just get like a random present at Easter. Last year's Easter present, was it last year or the year before? Probably the year before. My present for Easter was a photo album of pictures of me. So, like, it was quite nice.
Of yourself. Something that you see every morning when you get up.
Just like, I know what he wants.
Well, no, actually, it was. I think I spoke about it on the podcast before. I might have spoken about it on the podcast before, but I know obviously I've not told Alex because it was single-handedly one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. Because I'd like to point out that the photo album is me doing comedy, like it's pictures of me like from snapshots and stuff like that. I'm doing comedy. It's actually a really nice picture.
That's a scrapbook.
Yeah, like a scrap. That's probably like a nice little scrapbook. But how it came about was, I got a random message from. Have you met Adam Anwar, who runs the Comedy Loft House?
I know who he is. I don't know if we've ever been introduced, but I know who he is.
Yeah, I got a message from him, and it was out of the blue, and it was like, "I've got pictures of you," and I was like, "Say what?" Like, it
no
was
context. I've got pictures of
through
you.
the window out of the tree, like.
It was something randomly out of that. It was like, well, I don't actually have them, but I've got photos of them. Have you ordered this? And then he sent me a picture, and basically it was a scrapbook, like what we just said. And I was like, no, this has got no idea. And basically what had happened is someone in London had purchased a scrapbook of whatever they wanted to scrapbook. And they'd been delivered this scrapbook of me. But they had no idea who I was because I'm not famous yet, and my TikTok video hadn't gone viral at this point. But obviously one of the pictures of me, it's before time. Pictures of me doing comedy was a picture of the Comedy Loft House, and it's got a logo in the corner. So this person had found them on Facebook and said, who is this? This is blah blah blah. So for about a good half an hour, obviously I twigged that someone's like got crossed parcels and they've got received the wrong thing, but I had no idea someone had created a scrapbook of me. So I was fucking petrified. I was like, what?
1 hour photo. Shit.
Yeah, 1 hour photo. What a film! Oh my god, yeah.
I've not seen it, so it's.
Oh, it's on. Have you got Disney Plus? Because it's on there. Please watch it.
Petrified. So in a panic, I rang my mum and was like, "Mum, what the living fuck? This is the experience." She went, "Oh yeah, that was me. I ordered it as a present for you." And I was like, "Fucking god!" Like I literally. But what annoyed me is I didn't ring her first, so I created this story that someone was going to murder me.
Someone was just like, "Yeah, going to all your shows."
To be like, "Mum, I just want you to know if that happens to me, I love you." And
if someone took pictures of me at my shows, I'd be like, who was at the show? Like, there was no one at any of my shows. So I know who was taking the photos.
Don't love me that much.
You notice the one person in the middle with a big fucking camera, like right, massive lens right up there. You know, like, stay still, shut up.
just sets up.
Oh man, you just reminded me of like my favorite film.
1 hour photo.
1 hour photo, yeah, I love that film. Like when I first saw that film, I didn't know it existed. I saw it on TV back when you could like see a film on TV. I'm being really reminiscent
Definitely
today.
ITV2 film at the time. It must have been a Channel 5 film.
Maybe it might have been, but it was smashed me up. Like Robin Williams with like the Eminem haircut, and he was just a complete nutter, like not funny at all, just like the most creepy.
I'd like to point out I haven't seen this film, so out of context, this sounds fucking insane.
No, you gotta watch it. I won't go mental on it, but it's nuts, yeah.
Because you think Robin Williams, you think funny films, and this is just such a U-turn for him to do, but he does it so well. That's why he's a great actor.
I do like it when actors completely, like for me, it's have you ever seen the film The Number 23?
With Jim Carrey in it.
With Jim Carrey. Yeah. That's the same thing. Like it's basically a psychological thriller and it's Jim Carrey and you don't expect it because you expect comedy, you expect slapstick, you expect humor, and it's not in this. And randomly you just expect him to like turn around and be like, "Ha, joke's on you." No, it's like a proper psychological thriller. I'm like, where is the joke? Where?
I want to know how you've seen that film and not what else.
Well, also, when you talk about random films that come up and stuff like that I actually think are really good films, I thought about this the other day. Did you guys ever watch that film Cellular with Chris Evans?
Oh, I thought you were going to say.
From TFI Friday.
Not that.
I know Chris it's Evans. Not, but like, I'll always think of
it was just what a crap film that would be.
Oh my god, yeah. Him as the hero, him as Captain America. I'm sorry, like I know it's the most obvious thing, but it's like I'll never not think of him first. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
for my generation, I always think of the ginger Chris Evans first. I haven't seen it. What's it saying? Cellular.
It to you.
So have you seen Cellular, Nick?
I was thinking of, is it Cellular with Jason Statham in? But now that's the wrong film because it doesn't have Chris Evans.
I think that might be the wrong film. No, basically, Cellular. Basically, there's a family. I won't give too much away because it's actually a really good film. There's a family, and this man's done some bad stuff. So that these bad other might actually have Jason Statham in it, but they take this family like captive, and she's like a science teacher and manages to they smash up the phone, but she manages to do something with the phone and randomly call someone, and it randomly calls Chris Evans, and then the whole film is him trying to save this family. My argument is, right, in America, if you're going to randomly ring a random number, how do you get someone who's nearby? That's also an issue. Because if that was I'd ring someone and get him in fucking London. Come save me. Yeah, give me a 2-hour train journey and I'll be there. But anyway, the whole film is about them Chris Evans trying to say, and this is before Captain America and before Fantastic Four. But that was a good film. So get that on your watch list, guys.
Chris Evans before Captain America and before Fantastic Four. It's a quite old one.
Weedy Chris Evans. I actually have the film on DVD, but I don't actually think I've watched it. I've just googled it now.
The bad guy might be Jason Statham. I remember him being bald.
He's definitely in it. He's in it.
Is it?
Yeah.
There you go. I actually watched a Jason Statham film the other day called The Meg, about the megalodon. Don't watch that.
What, like the big shark?
Yeah. I love a good shark film, but that film just...
What's he doing? Riding it or something?
He goes...
on it.
At one point, he's like, it's a megalodon. But they're like, oh my God,
he's not
it's
the
a big
scientist.
shark.
He brings it back, is he?
I think he's got a bit of a science background. Do you think he's going to be just a hunter, don't you?
Listen, you better fucking give me my research grant so I'll get this fucking megalodon back from the dead, all right?
Yeah. I'm sure it literally at one point they look at it and they go, wow, that's a big shark. And he's like, no, it's a megalodon. And they're all like, oh! I'm sure that's literally one of the lines.
Unfortunately, that is
done for.
Yeah. I guarantee that's in there. We're joking about that, but I guarantee that his Megalodon 4 is in there.
I don't actually think Megalodon 4 was
at
in
the end. He just fuck it.
Yeah. Honestly, the whole story, a part of it was it was a shit film. I love shark attack films. It was shit. It was genuinely shit. Also, there's a random. Did you guys ever watch Heroes?
The program.
Yeah, the first season I watched it.
First season, best TV show in history. Anyway, Hiro Nakamura, he's in the Meg.
Oh yes, he is.
He's in it.
Yeah, I won't spoil it, but it's a shark attack film, so it doesn't end well. So,
I was about to make a kind of sarcastic joke of, oh yeah, the illustrious genre of shark attack film, and then I remembered that a shark attack film is one of the greatest films ever made, arguably.
Yeah, but that's the only one.
I think it's kind of an outlier in the shark attack genre, even amongst other Jaws movies, really, because you think about the kind of level of shark attack movies, and then it's Jaws is out here, and then you got Jaws 2 and all those.
And then the rest of the franchise. We are gonna be wrapping up in a moment, but I'm just gonna
what?
But I need to dial back a second though, because fucking Nick here just saying that fucking Jaws been the only shark attack film that's.
I said Deep only Blue decent sea. One.
Deep Blue Sea.
Right, we've all seen it. Okay,
and it's amazing.
Right, but the thing that I've got behind this is it's just far fetched, innit? Let's be honest.
No, it's
human brains in sharks. Come on.
They don't put human anyway, so I'm not getting into this because
it's pretty much that's the gist. All right, the main actor died. The biggest actor dies.
Samuel L. Jackson dying at 45 minutes. Spoiler alert, but that was ridiculous.
And for anyone going, oh my god, I've not seen it, and I've recorded it to watch. Get a life. It's 2002. All right,
yeah.
1998 or something.
I actually think it's 99. I actually think it's 20 years old.
And they went. That's the only good thing actually that Samuel L. Jackson dies early, and I don't mean because I don't want anything bad to happen to him in the film. Is you think he's going to be in it all the way through because you're he's a massive actor. We don't really know anyone else in the film, And then he gets killed, and you're like, oh my god, they've killed him off first 20 minutes. Jeez.
What is it? That bit that horror? It's the Drew Barrymore effect, isn't it? In Scream. when obviously in the opening scene, everyone's like, "Oh my god, she's fine," because she's like the biggest Hollywood actress at the time, and she's going to be absolutely fine. And then she's dead, and it's like, "Oh my god, what?"
Yeah.
Like you can kill the big names.
Can. Samuel L. Jackson dying early in Deep Blue Sea was even more distracting than me trying to finger the girl who I went to the film with.
You just stopped midway through and went, no fucking way, they've just killed him.
There's nothing like ruining the plot than occasionally just, trying to plot your next finger moves. Oh, yeah, look at that. Trying to figure out how to where a vagina is or whatever.
I love the fact that you probably stopped midway through and went, that's because they can't afford him for any longer in this film. That's how high. And she's going, what? Well, they just killed him. Look. And what are we? Look, what are we, like 22 minutes in? Budget must have been well low for this.
You know me so well, Nick, on our first meeting. I would definitely stop midway to say that. I'll do that now.
I mean, I'm also, this is how, like, maybe anal in my head that I am. Weren't you, like, 12 when that came out?
Who, me?
No, because I'm older than you.
Yeah, but if it came out in 99, I was 7.
I was. Was it definitely 99?
I'm going to Google it now.
Google it now.
1 second.
I mean, I realize
I'm also on the case.
Yes,
1999. 1999. There's been two.
Okay, so maybe the DVD release you had to go out. I'm giving you a bit of a.
No. It was. Well, you know what? I don't know if it came. So I would have been 14. Which I think is an acceptable age. I was definitely fingering at 15, maybe 14. I don't think I actually did. I think you've dove deep into this. I don't know if I did finger.
You've ruined this story now. Like this,
I was so much merit.
You've ruined it.
Jack, you didn't have to delve so deep into the facts there, let's keep fake news alive just a little bit longer.
Do you realise we're a comedy podcast, all right? Most of this is built on lies.
Exactly. It's built on a foundation of lies, and it's like a house of cards. You shake it, you give it a little blow.
If anything...
I'm going with the fact that Alex is just a massive Casanova at 14. Definitely. He snuck into a 15 film at 14 years old, which is all that's got him on the cards already. She's thinking, wow, he's snuck us in to this 15 film, and he's paid with his pocket money that he's saved up for about 10 years because that's what you had to do back then. And then
I wasn't getting 15 quid to go to the cinema like some people.
Yeah, that's it. See, you had to save up weeks for that. Yeah, been saving up a fingering at the cinema since I was 6 because every bit of pocket money I've got, I've worked for this day. And she saw he snuck us in. We're at an R-rated film. I'm gonna let him.
And then a couple of minutes later, she's like, "I'll give you 50 quid to stop." I said, "I'll take it. I'm out."
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing is not good. There's no Deep Blue Sea here. Samuel L. Jackson's dead, and frankly, that's maybe doubly depressed.
I can imagine her telling her girlfriends about that as well. Basically saying, right, so you never guess what? Samuel L. Jackson dies midway through, and all them like, oh my God. And she goes, yeah, but check this. He stopped to tell me, and then the reason behind why. So in the end, it was just terrible. So I gave him 50 quid, and he just stopped. That's it. So you're going to see him again? Probably not. Who's the real winner? Alex is the real winner. He's got 50 quid.
Walked away with 50 quid.
And he's seen the film.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I know what happens.
Although, I'm going to just put this out there, ultimate callback of going back to why you'll do anything for 50 quid.
I mean, this is stand-up comedy, all right? You've got to have a callback. Otherwise, it's not
See, that's
comedy.
what we're doing. I was just setting you up for that callback. That, there you go. I've got you here.
Steps ahead.
5 steps ahead.
A game of chess where everybody wins. I love it.
What? No, never mind. But no, we'll wrap up there just before we do all the plugins and all the jazz and all that sort of stuff. Have you enjoyed yourself with the nice guys of comedy, Mr. Alex Camp?
I've had a wonderful time. Thanks for inviting me on, and it's been great. Yeah, fucking loved it.
Good. It's actually been one of my favourite ones, and I'd never normally say that.
He says that to every single.
I actually do. I actually do.
No,
I'm normally just like, oh, thanks, it's been good. Yeah, I enjoy them all, but it's actually been mainly because we spoke about a lot of films, and Alex is
like that.
seeing a lot of films. It seems
from that era, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to when we can do a gig together, lads. Hopefully,
yes,
in the summer we'll be able to get on the same bill somewhere, maybe here or over your way, and yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Oh, you never know. We might decide to fuck it. Let's go and conquer Japan. That sounded very colonialism, and I'm not meaning it that way. I just meant comedy-wise. Like,
but they expect that. They expect that kind of.
They expect us to get off and go, right, it's ours now.
Yeah, historically they do love people trying to conquer their country, and I'm currently playing Ghost of Tsushima. That's great, and that's like all about the Mongol invasion, and you're just a samurai, just got to kill Mongols all day long. It's pretty great.
If I ever go to Japan, I'm taking a British flag with me, and I'm just gonna go unite, and I'm just gonna go walk right into the middle and just go right.
They start taking pictures of you. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. They'd be like.
Imagine that for a YouTube stunt. Just me walking around with a drum and the flag holster.
oh god.
Parappa pum pum.
Yeah.
See for some reason.
Well, I'm gonna do it at Christmas time.
Do it at Christmas. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. But yeah. So just before we do wrap up, then. So Alex, where can people find your funny?
Okay, if you go to YouTube, Alex Camp, my socials are usually ALXXCXMP because there's a few other Alex Camps who have taken my thunder. If you go to YouTube, you can find my special there, or you can search for it on Spotify, Apple Music, all that. It's called That Time I Lived in Japan. That's the title. And yeah, I'm always on Instagram and always on TikTok, Alex Camp Comedy, still that weird spelling. And you can also, if you get that deep in, you can come in and see me do some of my own personal little Zoom shows where I do some music. So yeah.
There you go. He'll do anything for 50 quid. Anything
Send
for
50 quid and I'll suck you off.
That needs to be the cut. When you edit this, that needs to be the cut for this whole, like, the clip that you showed before.
Oh.
That's it. I'll do anything for 50 quid. And you know what? Normally, I'm going to be sat here and be like, right, here's our plugs, but you don't need that. Do it for 50 quid. But on that slide note, you can find Nick at Nick Crooks Comedy on most social medias, Facebook, Instagram, all them places except Twitter because he didn't have a Y because Twitter's a twat. You can find me at Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all them places at I am Jack V. And you can find the podcast at NGOC Pod. And that is at Facebook and Twitter. Forgot where we even did our own promotion there. But in the meantime, if you do need anything, just send Alex 50 quid, and by the sounds of it, he'll just suck you off.
Or I'll do a theme tune like I did for you, which I gave you less than 50 quid. But...
Yeah, you could, you can use talent. I mean, I'm not saying that he's not a talented blowjob guy, because he might be, but...
Got a lot of talents.
Yeah.
Got a lot of talents.
And we know how good our theme tune is. Like, I think that's 99% of why people listen to it. That's why we get the views in the first, 5 seconds.
Yeah, everyone else is
the thing. They go, oh, this is a... And then once it's finished and they hear us talking, they're like, oh, fuck it. I like the song. But that's all I'm here for.
To be fair, I did make myself laugh when I did yours because I was just like, what can I say? Have a brew and sit your ass down. And that just made me laugh. So I was like, that's got to be good.
Yeah, my kids love it. My kids actually love the theme tune.
Oh, do they actually?
Yeah, they actually do. It's like an upbeat. Well, I just think it's catchy, innit? It goes.
Yeah,
kids always like the music I make, which is slightly worrying because it's like, okay, I'm at kid level now. I've reached like twinkle twinkle level of complexity to my music. So
I think if we ever need any like Piper type person, I'm just gonna give you a phone call and say, look, make some tune. We need to get loads of kids in line.
Yeah. Get them around the mountain.
This
Kill the adults.
This was just after you were talking about fucking, what was it, colonialism and you dominating Japan. Now you're Pipering kids. Jesus.
No, my own kids in this thing. Do you know how hard it is to control children? Do you know what I mean?
No,
like a song that quietens them down. It's just magic. Bosh. Yeah, listen to that. But if it only lasts like 1 minute, playing it on repeat eventually will bore. Yeah. So if it's just a long, different tune all the way through, just leave that on.
Don't need anything else. Boom.
get a brew and sit your ass down for the Nice Guys of Comedy podcast.